Once again, good morning. Today we're continuing the lesson on statistics 1 and 2. In our previous lesson, we discussed a whole lot of terminologies which is associated to statistics. The last thing I remember we discussing was class boundaries. Am I correct? Yeah. I shown you what class boundaries are. I told you is the limit each class must assume, the highest and lowest value each class interval must assume, right? Just so it doesn't conflict with other class intervals. I promise that today I'll be doing class size and then class midpoint, and then we'll start with other ways of graphically representing data. So let's begin. So the first thing I want us to talk about is the class size. Class size or width. So class size or class width. Okay. So what is that? Now before I begin, I want you to know that class size or class width is denoted with, it's denoted, let me use my red ink. It's denoted with the symbol small c. So if you see small c under statistics anywhere, then know that it represents class what? Size or class width. Okay. Now, what is class size or class width? So to find class size or class width, just find the difference between the upper class boundary. Find the difference between the upper class boundary and the lower class boundary. So everything okay? Can you see your screen? Can you see your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so find the
Yes, sir.
okay, thank you. So find the difference between the upper class boundary and the lower class boundary of that class interval. Okay. Um, I'll be taking you to yesterday's class. You find the difference between the upper class boundary of one class and the lower class boundary of the next class. No, sorry, of the same class. So I'm taking you back. When it's loading like that, does it appear on your screen also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so this is what we did yesterday. This is what we did yesterday. Yesterday, the values I used were just offhand, but we can manage to use them. So if I want you to tell me the class size or class width, if I want you to tell me the value of the class size or class width, know the class boundary of that particular class interval. So ordinarily, if your table is just number of runs and frequency and you don't have a section for class boundary, know that you cannot find class size or class width without class boundaries, right? So you must know the class boundaries. Once you know the class boundaries, I said is the difference between the upper class boundary. So that's going to be, no, yellow ink one will be inconspicuous. So 9.5 is the difference between the upper class boundary and what? The lower class boundary. The lower class band, I said the difference. Difference means subtract. So minus. Now, minus the lower class boundary is what? Negative 0.5. So if you do this properly, we are getting 9.5. When minus meets minus is plus, right? Plus 0.5. What is that? Is it safe to assume it's 10? Is it safe to assume it's 10? Okay. When you confirm, let me know. Yes, sir. Please hold on. Yeah. So if I ask you of the class size, just say it's what? 10. Yeah. Just say it's 10. Just say it's 10. Yeah, so we can use a variable c, right? A variable c. A small c, okay? Some reasons my c is becoming bigger. So therefore, I mean, small c is equal to what? 10. Let's continue. The next one. So now check for all of them. Ordinarily for d- distribution tables with equal class intervals, so their class width are mostly the same. So let's check for the other one. So the second one, the second line, if you want to look for the class size or the class width, the second line, I said we use the class boundaries. So that's going to go 19.5 minus what? 9.5, right? What are you getting? Please confirm for me. It's 10. Guys, are you working on it? Okay. Now, so look at the second one, the second table. So if I ask you to calculate for the class width is what? So you concentrate on the boundaries. So typically the class width is the same for all the intervals, provided in that um, question, that distribution, the interval among them is the same. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so that is it. What are you getting for that also? Is it safe to assume it's 40 or 41? Maybe not. Oh, it's different. It's not. Yeah, do it and let me know what you had. Yeah, it's 100. And it's 100 for all of them. Let me know if you are done writing so that I can move to the next note. Yes. I want to hear from you if you're done right and let me know so we move to the next. Today we don't really have time on.
That means you are done.
Okay. So I'm taking you back to our first note. What's going on? Please hold on. Yeah. So go on. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So that is it. Yeah, so I'm done with class size or class width. Let's talk about the midpoint or mid valley. Okay, so class midpoint or mid valley. But when I start doing histogram with you, I'll show you how to I will explain something to you about class size again so you get to appreciate it better. Okay. Yeah. Class midpoint or mid value. So now, when we talk of class midpoint, it's okay, so let's take a typical interval. Let me see if I can have one here. Please hold on. Max frequency. We normally use this for group frequency distribution table. Okay, so you have 5 to 9. You have 10 to 14. Then you have 15 to 19. So the class midpoint is a middle value of a particular class. The middle value of a particular class. The frequency is 352. The middle value of a particular class. And midpoint comes to mind when the distribution table is grouped. That's when you get to think of midpoint. Okay. Now, how do so if it's ungrouped, and I believe you know on group frequency distribution table, that table under max, you only see like one, two, three single values, not a range. That one is ungrouped. Now, midpoint only comes to mind when the frequency distribution table is grouped. Now, when the frequency distribution table is grouped, sometimes there is a need to find midpoint, especially when there are questions that are asking to find a mean, find a standard deviation, mean deviation. Yeah, you need to find midpoints because you can't use 5 to 9. It's a range. You will struggle. So we find midpoints, and midpoints is the middle value of a particular class. And to find a midpoint, just find half of the sum of the lower class limit and the upper class limit. these are limits, right? Class interval, we call them limits. If it's a boundary, then you will see upper class boundary and lower class boundary. But these are ordinary class intervals. So it's half of what? The sum of the upper class limits and the lower class limits. Okay, so half of lower, you let me just, by saying it, so let me just save space. Yeah, midpoint. Yeah, midpoint. Normally, you may see but it's quite uncommon. Yeah, so midpoint. Yeah, so I mean half of just add 5 to 9, like the interval. 5 to 9, whatever you get, find half of that. So 5 plus 9 is what? 14 on 2, 7. So the midpoint here is 7. Do same for the next one. That's 24. 24 divided by 2. That's probably 12. 15 plus 19 is what? Half of that. Half of this is what? I thought you were all off. You are not talking. So how do I know you are following? What is going on? Tell me. Hello, what is going on in a classroom? What is the midpoint? What is the midpoint? You're all quiet. I don't know what is going on. What is the midpoint for the next class interval? What did you get? 17. Okay. So this is how we find midpoint. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Okay. I'm thinking of a strategy. I don't know. Okay. Let's move on. I want to illustrate something to you, but I'm just wondering. Okay. So that is it. Now, at this juncture, we are come to learn how to graphically represent data graphically represent data. But before we go there, I want to show you how to use your calculator. Let me see if I'll be able to illustrate this. Before we get there, I want to show you how to use your calculator. So, just some minutes. Hmm. Yeah, so today what we're going to learn, we are just going to learn how to enter data on our calculator. And I will be using this data, what you see on the board. Yeah, what you see on the screen, yeah. Midpoints and frequency. So let's begin. But before we start, take some time and write this. Write what you see. I'll better yet, maybe I should just let me go back and give you. I'm coming. No, it's fine. Let's use it like that. Like, oh, I actually, no, yeah. So let's take some moments and write to this quickly before we start. Let me take a shot of it also. So I believe by now you must have been able to draw the table because I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay. All right. So now it's you and I. Maybe I'm sure. Oh, good. You can see my calculator clearly, right? Can you see my calculator clearly? Okay. So the first thing we're going to do today is to learn how to put data, statistical data on your calculator. Because going forward, we are going to learn situations where you have to put the information on the calculator and then you let the calculator reproduce some values for you. There are lots of headings we'll be treating the calculator can solve and give you the end result. So your duty is to just to solve to see if you will land at the same result. So it becomes your teacher. Do you understand? So we are going to learn how to enter data on the calculator. So let's begin. You must all have your calculator. Madam Precious, please ensure that they all have that. Those that don't have a calculator, they should sit by those with a calculator. I will need your confirmation before we begin. Do that quickly. We don't have time.
Doesn't have some.
Madam, mi assistant by those others.
This is never worry. Yeah, all have it.
Okay,
Those
so
that
let's continue. Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, so now let me clear the air. We all understand that for frequency distribution tables, we have two kinds of tables, right? You can have a table that is grouped. The grouped frequency distribution table is the one we just discussed, where you have the values in a range. Under max, you have the values in a range. We also have an ungrouped frequency distribution table. With an ungrouped frequency distribution table, that one, it's not in a range, right? So if we are talking about ages of students, you just have 13, 14, 15, 16, like they are simple. But it's quite unfortunate you rarely meet questions like that. So we're going to deal with the group frequency distribution table. With the group frequency distribution table, don't be confused. The group frequency distribution table is that kind of table. The values and the marks are normally under a range, like what I just shown you. You have 5 to 9. You have 5 to 9, 10 to 14. That's a group frequency distribution table. You cannot punch 5-9 on the calculator. And in fact, the same way you cannot punch it on the calculator, that's the same thing that applies to when you are being asked to calculate for mean and what have you. You cannot use 5 to 9 to calculate for mean. So for group frequency distribution table, to solve any related question, we normally generate a new column called midpoint. Okay, we use the mid values of that class to solve. So that's the relevance of midpoint. So I'll give you a question and you see me creating a new column for midpoint because we can't use 5 to 9. The calculator can't even accept 5 to 9. You can point 5, you can point 9, but where are you going to put the hyphen? So to use a calculator, you must have calculated for your own midpoint. So you give the midpoint and the frequency to the calculator. Confirm if you understand that. Confirm if you understand that.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Then for the ungrouped frequency distribution table, that one your marks, because it's not in a range, you can use that. So there is no need creating midpoint. Just use them like that. That one you see singular values. The marks is like instead of 5 to 9, you have like 5. Then the next one is 6. The next one is 7. So that one the calculator can accept that. Let's start. So on top of the calculator, it's a similar thing over here. On top of the calculator, you see mode here. You see mode. So press mode. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So on top of the calculator, see mode. No, I think this is mode. No, that's not mode. This probably that's mode. My zoom appears upside down. I don't know why the camera is so. Yeah, but have you seen mode?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I see from where I sit, my calculator appears uh it's upside down. Is that how you see it?
Yes.
Okay, it's fine. So after why must I do it like this?
No. Yes.
Okay, it still appears upside down. Anyway,
So you can still.
okay. Yeah, the next one is so you see in the list of options, you see statistics. STAT. Mine looks upside down. I just hope it doesn't appear like that at your end. But you see
Yes.
statistics, there's a number assigned to it. It's number 3. If you have a calculator, you will know what I'm talking about. It's number 3. So look for number 3 on the keys. Yeah. Then you press that. It will take you to statistics. Please, are you there? Can I move on? Now, you see series of options given to you. Please choose the first one, number 1, VAR. Later, you understand what the others mean. The others can give you like 2, 3 boxes, but choose one. If you do so, you're either going to get 2 tables or 1 table. If some people, after choosing it, you see X, then you see frequency. Others, after choosing it, you see 2 tables. No, some people, after choosing it, you see just a table, one just written on it X. And don't be worried. We are coming there. But let me know if you are here before we can move on. Okay. Now, most cases, the frequency will not be there. The table will just be 1. So X stand for midpoint, okay? Or the class, midpoint or the class. So it could be height. If it's height, it's still X. If it's max, it's still X. Okay. If it's in a range, then create a midpoint. Okay. And that will represent your X. You know the table you have in your book, there is frequency, right? So we have to turn the frequency on. Even if your calculator, the frequency is on, I want you to know the process so that one day when it's off, you can do it yourself. To do so, are we on the same page? Can I move on? To do so, press shift, then you press mode. So shift, you see shift on top. Press shift, then you press mode. Look for mode. Shift and mode. Are you there? Then you use the scrolling button. This is the scrolling button. This one is top. This is left to right down. Okay, so you scroll down, you see statistics over there. Statistics is number. Confirm for me. What's the number over there? I know, but I want to confirm for me if you see the number over there. Statistics is number. What number is assigned to statistics over there on your calculator? Yeah, mine is also 4. So press 4. It will ask you frequency. What do you want to do to it? Do you want to turn it off or on? So want to turn it on, right? There is a number assigned to on. 1. So press 1. If you do so, you'll get 2 tables. One for X, one for frequency, right? Well, I'm glad I'm able to illustrate this. I mean, aside the abstractions. Yeah, so the next thing is that now you are come to put in the values. You are come to put in the values. Hmm? Yeah, you are come to put in the values. Yeah, so X will be, so I said here you come write the range. So we are putting in the midpoint. So X, the first one is 7. So just press 7, 7, just put in, write 7, type 7. Okay, then press equal to, if you press equal to, it skips to the next one. The next one, from your table, the next one is what? 12, right? So type 12. Press equal to, it would automatically shift to the next. Guys, are you there? Can I move on?
Yes.
The last one is what? 17. Just type 17, then press equal to, it will automatically shift to the next. Please, you understand?
Yes.
Then the next thing we have to do is frequency, right? But mind you, you are at the bottom. So why don't you like use your cursor here to climb to the very top? Okay, to climb to the very top. Please let me make this call. Guys, are you there? If someone wanted to ask a question, you see, when you put in the values, it skips to the next and the next. And you were the last one, you are the last one. But I want us to correspond the marks to their frequencies. So that means that you have to use this arrow, the arrow, just climb to the top. When you get to the top, you know that you are at the top. Please, are you there? Hi, guys. Hello.
Yes.
How can you be done? My hand, look at the position I find myself. Just trying to see if you are following and you're doing your own thing over there. Don't be too complacent. So listen to me. When you get to the top, what will help you know that you are at the top is that there are numbers, there are numbers by the table. There are some numbers at the very edge. It's your bulletin. It's numbers your position. So if you get to the top, you see that there is one, not in a blue ink. There is a number at the edge. You see one, it tells you that you are at the top, right? It tells you the position you find yourself. So once you are there, use your cursor to skip to the next. All right. So now we are coming to frequencies. So the frequency, just look at the values there. The values there, we have 3. So you just press 3. Then you press equal to, it skips to the next. You press 5. Then you press equal to, it skips to the next. Then you press 2. You press equal to, it skips to the next. Now, pay attention. The calculator will reproduce anything that is required of us, from frequency to standard deviation to a lot of things. Now, it's garbage in, garbage out. If you give it rubbish, it will give you rubbish. So I always recommend you spend time doing the right entries. So even if it means when you are done, like using your arrow to move up and down to cross-check, kindly do so. So when you are satisfied, then you can press on the on key or AC. when you do so, like it looks like everything is clean up and there is zero there, right? There is zero at the bottom. Are you guys following?
Yes.
It doesn't mean that your data is clear. You are in statistics. To know you are under statistics, on top of your calculator, you see stat, STAT, written on top, meaning you are in statistics. The moment you press on or AC, your data is stored in a calculator. You can do your own addition and subtraction, and 1 plus 1 equals 2 plus 2 equals here. It will not affect the data you have done. Once you press on, it's still there. Whatever you type, that table is in the calculator. I'll leave it here for now. When now we progress further, now you know how to enter data. So when we progress further, you'll be entering your own data. Then I will add on. Let's continue. Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay. So that is it. Now, if you want to come back, just press more than one, and it will bring you back to like normal because we are not going to do anything again. We are just continuing. We are not at that stage. We'll be using it. So, yeah, so graphical representation of data. Representation. Okay, so I've asked Grace to go to one government school, Taifa community, to go and take the data, the ages of students in a whole school. If you've been through a government school before, that's a lot of work to do, right? Because government school, the students are so many to the extent that they even group them to A, B, and C. I've been to a government school before. I don't know about you. My time were grouped to A, B, and C. So some come in the morning, some come to, no, we're grouped to A, B, and C. So we have different blocks. I seem to have forgotten. I think there were different blocks for A, different blocks for B, and different block for C. Now, if you take the block for A, we're divided into two. Some come to school in the morning, some come to school in the afternoon. How about you? Has any of you gone through this before? Okay. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, now I've asked you to go and collect the ages. We want to know the age ranges of students in the school and then the number of people holding that age, number of people that are of that age. That's a lot of data. Would you use group or on group frequency distribution? Because mind you, if we are seeing the whole school, meaning you are starting from crèche all the way to where? All the way to when? JHS. And we have group A, B, and C. That's a lot. That means what age range are we looking at? You can guess. Evelyn, what age range could we be looking at? Typically, students in crèche are of what age? 3, eh? Are you saying 3? I honestly don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Are you saying
3. Yes, sir.
Okay, so 3, then 3 to what age? Okay, yeah, so that's for crèche, meaning we are looking at from 3-year-old and above, right? And like the whole school, considering JHS, what is the highest age we can have? A government school is so unpredictable.
Say
Yeah.
20.
Someone is saying 20. Do you agree with him?
Oh, 20.
Yes.
Yes.
20.
Yes.
20, the whole school, you are saying the highest age we can record is 20 years. You are joking. You have not been to government school before. You meet someone's grandmother in a government school. Yeah. We should look at like 30. Of course, we can get 40, but let's say it's a rare situation. It's a rare. Yeah, but you can get people of 30 years of age. Oh. You don't know.
Yes.
Come again.
Yes.
Government school, that's government school for you. Exaggerating. 30 years. Government school. You've not been there before, eh? Some people are really old though. Yeah, you can get 30 years or JHS or JHS 3. Anyway, but what I'm saying is true. Some people are really old in a government school, you know? Yeah, so meaning we are looking at 3 to 30 years. Hey, so what kind of, if it was to be you are drawing a frequency distribution table, that's fine. What kind of frequency distribution table will you use if it was you? I'll ask for your opinions. Boahema, what kind of frequency distribution table will you use and why? Please hurry up, my time is almost up. Hmm?
That means grouping.
You use grouped. Why? Okay, you keep your why. Grace,
The group.
you will use group. Prince.
Yes.
The group.
Okay, you let me call people randomly. Jackishia. Yes.
Group.
Group. Why is everyone saying group? Patience.
Group. The group.
So why are you guys gonna use group? Mm-hmm. Please hurry up. If you know, just talk to me. You see, I told you before, maths is not rocket science. It's something that happens in our world, okay? We're just applying common sense to everything. Why are you using group? Or this one, you have to flip your notes and go and copy something. Of course not now. It's so practical. Why are you not using group? Why are you using group? Why? Yes.
It will make the work easier.
It will make the work easier. Because the age ranges is too vast, right? Yeah, it's too vast. Okay, so yeah, that is it. Now, after collecting the ages, 0 to sorry, 3 years to 5 years. Oh, number of people of that ages is 6 years to this. Number of people of this ages is okay. Yeah. After collecting this data and maybe putting that on a frequency distribution table, I mean, if so you desire, we represent the data graphically depending on what we want to use it for. Let me show you one. One of them is this. You see us representing data pictorially, like in a circle, and we'll be using like sectors to be doing the talking. So you see that, oh, we'll be using sectors to be doing the talking. Yeah. So let's say 18 years. We'll use sectors to 12 years. 3 years. Yeah, we'll be using sectors to do the talking. So you see, it's a data she went to collect to, but we have decided to represent it on a circle. Now, if you look at this circle, when I talk of sectors, we'll do mensuration soon, but typically a sector is the space bounded by two radii. Like when you have a radius, two radius. When you have, when you have a circle, there is a center. There is a center. Now, a line drawn from the center to touch the circle. I don't want to use technical words. A line drawn from the center of the circle to touch the circle is radius. So if you have two of them, that's what? Radii. The plural form of radius is radii. Radii. Now, when you have radii. Now, when you have two radii, the space it makes is what we call sector, right? So sectors are normally like this. So have you seen sectors? You have plenty of them. One, this is also a sector, like the space. Where I've written the years, so that space, okay, is a sector. It's what we call the sector. And yeah, when you see the sectors, they speak volume, right? Which one is what I've done there? You can see which is smaller and which is bigger. What will you take? Which sector will you regard as smallest? The labelings over there. Okay, you is fine. Which sector will you regard as big? Oh my God, like everything looks kind of equal. Let me do it this one. Let's see. Guys, which sector will you like by sight? Will you see is bigger?
30 years.
Come again.
30 years.
30 years. So you see, she went to collect data. It could have been scattered but representing it graphically, sitting from behind, I can just look at it and make conclusions. That means that when you take the whole school, yes, you know the conclusion. Say something about 30 years. For the whole school, what is happening? After she going to collect the data, what can you conclude from the circle drawn?
The end of the 30 years is higher.
What does it mean? Maybe I didn't get what you said. Your voice, your tone was down. But like whatever you said, what does it mean then? After the collection she went to do. She's been assigned to go and take like ages of the students, like the possible ages in the school and the number of people bearing that age. So she went there, she has done that. 20 years, number of people that are 20 years is this, that. Okay. Now, what conclusion can you make from that 30 years? It means when you take the school, yes, finish up.
30 years is the highest age of the school.
The highest age. Brofumu, what you said, if you ask me to interpret you, can't me say, over circle now. You're gonna say that when you take the set, like when you take the school, the benchmark of age, the highest age you recall, okay, is 30 years. You will not go beyond. Yes, of course, but that's not what this pictorial representation is trying to mean. No, so if 30 years is the highest age, then no. See, I can say, the circle can be changed. Like that place you see 30 years, I can write 3 years and it will have the same space. And we can say that 3 years is the highest age you record in a school. Do you get me? I can change everything. Do you understand that? I can change everything. Watch. I can change everything. Here will be 3 years. Here will be 1 year. And then this one will be 2 years. And we'll say that 3 years is the no, no, no. I'm coming. Yeah. Here is what? 4 years. Here is 9 years. Have you seen it? The biggest age there, the biggest space there is for 3 years. And you can't tell me that 3 years is the highest age in a school. No, because there is 9 years there. How can you say like 3 years of age is higher than 9 years of age? You are not using the right choice of words. Yes. I believe you understand my argument. What does the space occupying by 13 means? Because it speaks volume. What does it mean?
30 or 30.
Come again. 30 years.
So,
Mhm.
so it means many people are of 30 years of age.
Good. That's what it means. It means that the greatest age you will record, like the most common ages is what, 30 years, or like what you said, many people are 30 years. Do you understand that? That's what it means. So just by looking at that, and what other conclusion, you can say that few people are of 3 years. Please, you get it? Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, that is it gives it. So like there are ways to represent data. One of them is by using circles. Another one is by using boxes. So so I'm gonna write them for you. So one is the use of a pie chart by representing it pictorially using pie chart. Another one is, what do you know? Bar chart. What other thing do you know? Yes. Yeah. Histogram. So all the data you can have, you can represent them by using this. You can represent them graphically by using one of the, or cumulative, the use of a cumulative, okay, frequency curve, also called UGAI, OGAI, whatever. So we're going to learn them one by one because there is a question that came last year and of them. I saw that they were asking students to draw or produce a histogram. And I want you to open your ears and understand this because I have seen an integrated science practical question for chemistry. Chemistry integrated science practical question that came in 2023. 2023 was the integrated science past question. It was a chemistry question. I've forgotten what that was, but I think it was a lab work or so. And they had represented a data, yeah, in a tabular form. And they said draw a histogram, which is quite weird. You see, it doesn't happen, but they were like, produce a histogram for it. So if you know this, you'll be able to solve that. You see that, oh, this is nothing. Okay, so let's begin. So the first thing on our list is the use of a pie chart. Can I flip up? So
Yes, sir.
okay. So pie chart. Can I move on?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So when we talk about pie chart, it's a way of graphically representing data. Okay. But this one, we use sectors of circles. I just shown you that. So it's a pictorial representation of what data by using what? Sectors of we use sectors of circles. So we'll be using, do I have a protractor here? Do you all have a mathematical set?
Yes, sir.
Just one or some of you. But we'll need a we'll need a protractor to be able to do that. I'll find a way to improvise. So yeah, so what we do, we use sectors of circles, right? I said pie chart is a way of representing data pictorially by using sectors of circles. Now, if you are talking about a circle, we have to know the total angle of a circle, right? Know that when you take a circle, the sum of all its angles is 360. Okay. So if you are creating sectors, you have created sectors. You see, I was making an angle. Angle is from when two lines meet. An angle. Now, you have created variation of angles. When you add all these angles, it must sum up to 360 degrees. Because the sum of angles in a circle is what? 360. So the concept of pie chart is that we assign each category to an angle in a circle. It's like we are sharing 360 to everything, and we share it without being biased. So we share it according to the your frequencies, let me so to speak. We share it according to your frequencies. Okay. So it's like you are sharing 360. You apportion sectors for each thing you see. Each age. So here we were talking about ages. So if it's 18, 12, 3, we are going to apportion sectors to all of them. But we'll do that by looking at their frequency. So if 3 is more, 3 years is more, you give 3 years more. So it's like we are assigning sectors to them. And to assign a sector, it's all about angles, right? Because it's a protractor we use to draw the angle. So it's all about angles, the angle for that category. So there's a way to go about that, and that's what we are come to learn. Now, I don't want to do long explanations. It's gonna be better we take a question and I'll show you how to approach it. By so doing, you learn. So let's write this question down. Let me check my time. Now we'll be able to set up the data, but we cannot draw because we don't have protractor. I will think of how to illustrate this in our next lecture. So let's write. The following data gives the monthly budget of a family. Food, $60. Clothing, $10. House, no house rent, $50. Fuel. $60. Miscellaneous.
Hey.
The third one is here. House rent.
Yes. Well. You say.
Yes.
And light.
Yeah, fuel and light.
Nice.
I'm sorry, that's not how I write, but I'm using, a digital pencil, so it's affected in a way. I'll buy a stylus.
One.
Fuel and light.
Miscellaneous. Well done.
Represent the information on a pie chart. Even this one, I'm trying. Yes.
After the fuel and light, what's when it does?
Miscellaneous, like excesses. MISCELLANEOUS.
The last one was sleeping. Oh, yeah.
What percentage?
This. Are we doing this
Let me know when you're ready. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's solve. So I will let all time. Let me rush you on this, okay? Yeah, so you see, there's data. Data can be anything. So there's someone's monthly budget, and I believe you understand it. The whole month he uses $60 for food, $10 for clothing, $50 for house rent, $15 for food and light. Some of these are really unrealistic. Then miscellaneous, $35. As in any other things not captured here. The monies you give to the side check and all of that, yeah, it's under miscellaneous. Then savings, $30. Now you have to represent this information on the pie chart. You see, if we put this on a pie chart, you'll be able to know where most of his spendings go. Yeah, you can see from this random presentation. What does he spend more money on? Food. Where does he spend the least money on? What? Yeah, clothing. Yeah. Okay. But when you put it on a pie chart, it will show. So if you draw the pie chart and realize that the sectors, instead of it to be bigger, it's smaller, then you know that something is wrong. Okay, what percentage of his monthly budget is on? Yeah. So let's start. So let's learn how to draw, like, what to do before we draw a pie chart. What's the time? I have barely about 10 minutes left. Okay, so the first thing is that you copy everything in the question. I mean, food, clothing, we have to copy it, but we have to get a title. We are come to copy the same thing, just that we must have a title. We must have it. So food, clothing, let's use the word maybe item. We need a heading. Okay. So the item under that you can write food, clothing. House rent, sorry. Foreign light. What else again? Miscellaneous. Then the last one is savings. Okay. So yeah, item. Okay. Then the monies, let's use title, amount spent, right? So it becomes like a table. Yeah. So food, he spends what? 60, 10, 50, 15, 16, 10, 50, 15. In fact, indicates in the table is in what? Dollars. So you don't have to include it. 50, 15. What else again? 35, 30. Then the next one is the angle for the category. Okay. So angle of sector. All the time, this section must come. Angle of sector. Like the angle food must get in the circle. Now, this is what we're going to do. To be able to know the angle food must be given, first of all, I think we should have even done this. First of all, you have to know, but you can do it here. You can do it here.
Yeah.
First of all, know the total amount spent, right?
Yeah.
And when you added them up, what are you getting?
200.
Yeah, 200. It's in dollars. So knowing that, if you want to know how, like, what angle must be given to food, I told you when you take a circle, the total angle is 360, and it's 360 we are sharing. So if you want to know the total angle for food, just take the amount he spent on food, which is 60, divide by the total spending, which is 200. Know the fraction. It will be 60 over 200. Then you multiply by the angle. You find a fraction of the total angle of a circle, and it will give you what it must be accorded. What is that?
108.
108. So for clothing, to just know the amount spent on clothing, divide by total spending. So he spent 10 out of $200 on clothing. So you multiply by the total angle of a circle, which is 360. And that one to you, what do you get? An angle is measured in degrees, so degrees. Yeah, so do it. Do the rest since you know. Okay. If you are done, no, let me check on Jakisha. Have you done it or you are now doing it? Come again.
I'm doing it.
Okay. So finish. You have just 5 minutes.
Nice. This is the system. 27. It's true. When talking around in 27. Okay, 63. 54.
Is someone calling me?
No, sir.
Okay.
Jalan.
Everyone,
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
including Jakisha.
Yes,
Jakisha, are you done?
please.
Okay then, guys, tell me your values. House rent.
90 degrees.
90 degrees is correct. Next one.
27 degrees.
What does it represent?
Well and
light.
What's the next one?
63 degrees.
Degrees. If you don't bring the degrees, you'll be marked down. I mean, one will be subtracted from your entire marks. You have to be careful. Yes, to the next one.
54 degrees.
Yeah, the next one is what?
54 degrees.
Yeah, so in our next lecture, I'm going to think of how I can teach you the use of protractor. I don't even have one here. I have to check if I can get some from there. Most. Right, so go and get a mathematical set and we'll learn how to use a protractor. We'll draw the pie chart. Any question at this point? Any question at this point?
No, sir.
Yeah, so On this note, I'm ending the recording.
Say anything.